All right, so on the previous episode, we talked about, we previewed the Pistons and the Lakers, and we revealed the men's Sweet 16. And we also talked about American League Conference in-season preview. And and all that. But what's coming up on today's morning cap? Good morning, everyone. Welcome to JDB's Morning Cap. Today is Tuesday, March 25th, 2000. Correction, today is March 24th, 2026. So, we'll start the show on a pretty good note as one day away until opening day. Speaking of which, let's get this show started. Let's start with the, we pick up where we left off from yesterday. We're going to preview the National League season preview. So I already did the American League Conference season preview. Now I'm doing National League Conference season preview. So we'll see what happened last year and what could be better this year. All right, so now we'll go from the National League East to the National League West. So I did American League East American League teams yesterday. We do 15 National League teams as of right now. So let's take a look what division ranks went through from last year. Number 5, let's start with the National League East first. Number 5 was the Washington Nationals. They finished the season 66-96, which is the second worst record in the National League, behind the Colorado Rockies. The Nationals, last year it's been disaster. And for the Nationals will be Nationals. Since they won the World Series in 2019, the Nationals are one of the worst teams in baseball since that time. Who they have on their roster? C.J. Abrams, James Wood. They don't have big names for Washington. And guess and how they can do that. And Blake Butera is their manager. Of the Washington Nationals. Well, the worst case scenario right now about the Washington Nationals is they have so many injuries, but do they have their talent on the roster? They had some, they don't have a whole lot. Dylan Cruz was supposed to make this team, but he got sent down to the AAA because he had a disappointing spring training this year, and now Nationals might struggle again this year. Because of that, they just don't have that here. But the biggest problem right now is their pitching. The pitching's been bad, time and time again. So I think Nationals are going to be worse this year, no doubt about it. They're going to be worse. I mean, even though he got a new manager, I don't think that talent isn't going to get better because Cruz was supposed to make this team, and the talent-wise is not going to get better for Washington. Number 4, the Atlanta Braves, 76-86 last year in 2025. What's going to happen for the Atlanta Braves? The biggest issue for the Braves right now is injuries. Now you add another player on the injured list. Spencer Strider will kick off the season on the injured list. So another starting rotation going down with injuries. The injuries have looming a lot this year. Here's notable pitchers or position players on the injured list or suspended or suspension. Spencer Strider, injured. Spencer Swallenbach on a 60-day injured list. Hurston Waldrep is out. He's injured. Joey Wentz, injured. AJ Smith Shawver, AJ Smith Shawver, recovering joint tonsor surgery, injury. Joe Jimenez on a 60-day injured list. That's the pitchers. Position players on the injured list. Sean Murphy, Ha-Seong Kim, and then suspension is Jurickson Profar. He's suspended for the entire season. Even the Braves make the playoffs, they're not going to give Profar back until next year. He surrendered another performance-enhancing drugs. Again, he tested positive. And I think the Braves will miss the playoffs again. You got a new manager, Walt Weiss, but this season, the season for the Braves may be tested for Atlanta Braves. Number 3, Miami Marlins, 39-83 last year. An encouraging season last year for the Marlins, with Clay McAuliffe, his second season as Marlins manager. Last year, there was some impressions. Kyle Stowers had a big season last year, an all-star, but unfortunately, he'll begin the season on the injured list. But the guy that's going to be the X factor for this Marlins offense is Owen Cassidy. Owen Cassidy is going to be special for the Marlins this year. And Yuri Perez on the mound. So they expect to compete for the National League, the entire National League Conference, and National League East Division as well. We all know that the Marlins are a young team. They felt they made their own presence felt they can win some games, something like that. And the Marlins will be winner. Number 2 is the New York Mets. They went 83-79 in 2025. Let's start with the Mets. The biggest one. The Mets missed the playoffs by a tiebreaker because the Reds took 4 out of 6 in the regular season last year. How the Mets missed the playoffs. It was a late season collapse. The bullpen's been inconsistent. The offense seemed to be downfall. The starting rotation is dealing with a bunch of injuries. Despite the fact the Mets were the highest payroll in all of baseball. You have Juan Soto. You have Pete Alonso. You have Francisco Lindor. That's last year's stuff, right? Yeah. But this year, they're going to rely on a few other guys. Juan Soto is still here, signed a big contract. Lindor is still here. But you had some key losses. You got both. Actually, no. You add some of these guys as well. Some additions. Bo Bichette, Luis Robert Jr., Jorge Polanco, Freddie Peralta, Marcus Semien, Devin Williams. Those are big names. The big losses, Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso's with the Orioles. Jeff McNeil, he's with the Athletics from West Sacramento. Those are key losses. But I am confident that the Mets will play well. I'm confident the Mets will play a bunch of confidence in this one. It's something we really want to help their cause. Number one is the Philadelphia Phillies. 96 and 66 last year. The Phillies, Bryce Harper needs to be healthy. You don't have Nick Castellanos anymore. When you look at their lineup this season, you have Harper, Realmuto, Adolis Garcia added to the mix, Kyle Schwarber getting paid, Alec Bohm, Trey Turner. Brandon Marsh, Bryson Stott. Edmundo Sosa. So there you go. So the Phillies, here's the starting rotation. You got Sanchez, Nola, Andrew Painter, Andrew Painter may make his major league debut. So that would be the best case scenario for the Philadelphia Phillies. This rotation is going to be great. We all know that. And Zach Wheeler as well. He's still trying to recover with his health. So hopefully that will help their cause in the early portions of the season. All right, so let's take a look at the National League Central. Number 5 was the Pittsburgh Pirates, 71 and 91 last year. The pitching has been great. They got a great pitching staff for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Pirates got a great pitching staff, including a Cy Young winner, Paul Skeens, expect to be an opening day starter for the second year in a row. I mean, Paul Skeens, low ERA, high strikeout rate. He hasn't quite translated to wins as of yet. If they could do that, the offense has to show support. The run support win rate was amongst the worst in baseball. They can't score runs. They can't benefit runs from their starting pitcher. It is really hard. It's really hard. And we already know that. This is the situation you don't want to miss. It's just like that. You didn't want anything to prove it. Number 4 is the St. Louis Cardinals, 38-84. Yeah, last year it's been tough. You don't have Aaron Arenado anymore. You don't have Contreras anymore. You don't have Sonny Gray anymore. But you still got your manager, Oliver Momo. But the Cardinals are going to be younger. They're going to get younger, for sure. Cardinals have now missed the playoffs over the last 3 years. If they do miss the playoffs, they'll make it 4 in a row. Cardinals are a very good franchise to play at. Winning World Series. This is a key spot. Well, if that's the case, then it's not much of a difference because of it. So, looking for the St. Louis Cardinals coming into the season, what's the best aspect they're going to do? Yeah, for the Cardinals, it feels like they don't have anyone. Brendan Donovan is out of St. Louis Cardinals. He goes to Seattle Mariners. Now, this is the situation for St. Louis. This lineup is not going to be very good. Then you got the pitching staff. So this is a situation for the Cardinals they can really have if that's going to be the case. And there's a lot of things they can really worry about. And then the next one is the Cincinnati Reds. Playoff bound last year, 83-79. They were swept in the wild card series round to the Dodgers. By the Dodgers, excuse me. The Reds. Do you think the Reds are talented enough coming into the season? Yes, they are. They got Elliot De La Cruz. He's a talented young man. He's got power. He can hit a lot of home runs. He strikes out a lot. He also commits a lot of errors. He can steal a lot of bases too. But Elliot De La Cruz has to be better as far as defense. He needs to get rid of the errors and all that kind of stuff. If that's going to be the case. But you don't have Hunter Green right now. He's injured. Nick Lodolo is a pitcher. You do got Eugenio Suarez. Look at the starting rotation: Andrew Abbott, Nick Lodolo, Brady Singer. That's some guys in the rotation who can work with Hunter Green being out. So that's a big blow for the Reds. It is a massive blow. Number 2 is the Chicago Cubs. 92-70 last year. Postseason bound. Lost in 5 games in the NLDS to the Brewers, 3-2, despite being down 2-0. Who was the biggest X factor last year? Pete Crow Armstrong. He had a solid year last year, especially the first half. He was an all-star. Then it cooled off most of the second half. But The Cubs got everyone. So the Cubs have signed Alex Bregman. You got Seiya Suzuki. You got Nico Horner, P. Crow Armstrong. You got Dansby Swanson. The list goes on and on. Are the Cubs talented enough to win this Central Division? I think they have a chance. But the first half of the season for the Cubs might be tested because when you look like this Cubs team is going to run away to win this division, but we could see some of the teams, some early season surprises. So the Chicago Cubs are just they're one of the most talented teams in the National League. I think the Cubs will win division. That's for sure. And the National East Division winner this year is going to be the New York Mets. Central is going to be the Cubs. Number 1 is the Milwaukee Brewers last year. 97-65, won division last year. The pitching has been impressive last year. Pat Murphy, another National League Manager of the Year. The Brewers are just one of the most underrated teams in baseball. Either it's their lineup, their pitching, mostly their pitching and defense. Their pitching and defense has been outstanding. And both the starting rotation and all bullpen. The power bullpen. I mean, they've been flawless from top to bottom. The Brewers are clearly they're clearly the most underrated team in Major League Baseball in MLB today. Pat Murphy is one of the better managers in baseball, one of the best managers in baseball. He spent 2 seasons as a full-time manager, if I'm correct. And he's won at least 90 games in each of his first 2 seasons as a full-time manager. That's a great start for him. And now his trend will continue for this Brewer squad. Let's take a look at the National League West. Number 5, the Colorado Rockies, 43-119, which is the worst record in baseball. Also the worst record in team history. They give up the most runs in a single season in team history. That's a lot of runs. Yes, this is a hitters-friendly ballpark in Colorado. So that's a tough situation you have to use it for it. It's really tough right now. They'll be better this year. They're still not going to make the playoffs. Number 4, Arizona Diamondbacks, 80-82. Disappointing season. The bullpen was bad last year. The offense was okay last year. The starting rotation was also okay last year. And Antonio Novello is he's the most overrated manager in Major League Baseball right now. Torey Lovullo is the most overrated manager. He's got to the playoffs twice, 2017 and 2023. But I do like Corbin Carroll a lot. I do like Corbin Carroll. He's a great player to watch. Number 3 is the San Francisco Giants. 81-81 last year. They fired their manager, Bob Melvin, last year. So who's the new manager? Tony Vitello from Tennessee Volunteers baseball head coach. Now he's a Giants manager. Well, their starting pitching is going to be pretty good. You got Logan Webb as your ace, and the other guys can really step up. But the offense is the biggest question. They have Devers, Adames, Bailey. So some names on that list for the Giants, but they'll be closer to the playoffs. Number 2 is the San Diego Padres, playoff bound last year, 90-72. I hope the Padres can sneak this division, but they lost so many guys, and they got the new manager, Craig Stammen, I should say. I'm not sure the Padres can win the division. Number 1 is the 2-time World Series champion, Los Angeles Dodgers. Another 2-time defending World Series champions, Dodgers. Dodgers will be the best team in baseball. And the Dodgers will win the division once again. The Dodgers have so many big guys, big talents on their team. It's really, the toughest team you want to face is the Los Angeles Dodgers. They're clearly dynasties. The Los Angeles Dodgers are the Kansas City Chiefs of MLB. You have Patrick Mahomes, a 2-time league MVP, 3-time Super Bowl MVP, won 3 Super Bowls, to win most games. That's the time the Dodgers are going to win the division, but the 3-peat champ is going to be in question. Can they get past these teams? Can they pull off a 3-peat champion this year? I hope so. I think they could. We'll see how this plays out in this one. All right, what's coming up next on JDB's Morning Cap? A wild finish in Detroit between the Lakers and the Pistons. Can the Lakers extend a 10-game winning streak? Also, we do have breaking news from yesterday. It's good news for Seattle, wide receiver. Also, we'll update Travis Kelce's contract as well as it develops. What a start to the show. We will step away in 3 minutes. Welcome back to JDB's Morning Cap. Lakers squared off the Pistons last night in Detroit. The Pistons were without Kate Cunningham for at least the rest of the regular season. The Lakers entering a 9-game winning streak coming into last night's game. Hey, Dannis Jenkins delivers a go-ahead step-back jump shot with 24 seconds left to play. And then Pistons up by 3 with 9 seconds left to play after Jenkins made both free throws. Luka Doncic looking for a game-tying turnaround fadeaway 3-point jump shot is way off, and the Pistons snaps the Lakers a 9-game winning streak. So the Pistons picks up their 52nd win of the year. And the Pistons try to maintain the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. So who led the way for the Detroit Pistons last night? Dannis Jenkins had an awesome game, 30 points, 11 for 18 from the field, 4 made 3-pointers out of 5 attempts, and 8 assists. So probably his best performance of his young career. So am I impressed with Dannis Jenkins last night to halt the Lakers' 9-game winning streak? Yeah, I'm really impressed. Yes, I'm really impressed with Jenkins. Right now, he's been playing out of his mind, and we need a contribution or 2 to step up. But that man right there, Jenkins, if it wasn't for him, the Detroit would have not won this game yesterday. But Jenkins had 30 points. But other guys have stepped up. Tobias Harris, 14. Duncan Robinson. Jalen Duran, he's capable of. He had 20 points and 11 rebounds. Those guys have stepped up when they needed the most. In the clutch game, with guys being out, like Isaiah Stewart, Cade Cunningham, Saucer is out for the Pistons. So, but they still find ways to win without Cade Cunningham. So, this is a consistency. You just really want to make it out a little bit. But I do like the fact that if Detroit does hold on to number 1 seed, how far that Detroit is going to go. If Cade Cunningham does come back by the postseason, then there's a chance they could make the Eastern Conference Finals. They may not be a finals bound, but they could make the Eastern Conference Finals. They'll have to face either the Celtics or the Knicks. But you got to face the Cavs in the second round. That Donovan Mitchell has never made a conference finals before. You don't want to give him an opportunity to do that? No. But I do know this. If Cade Cunningham does not come back in the playoffs, then I'm going to say a second round exit if Cade doesn't come back in the postseason. If he doesn't return in the postseason, they really need him. They need him badly. So the 65-game rule continues to be in indulgence. The 65-game rule has been in indulgence because right now the injuries, the inconsistencies, it's not going to help. That thing is not going to help at all. I'm glad that Detroit won the game last night. The way they stepped it up, what is necessary. It was despite Detroit had a 16-point lead, but they hung their grounds and they won the game. That's all that matters. As for the Lakers, the 9-game winning streak came to an end yesterday. Luka Doncic did have another 30-point performance last night. He had 32. As a matter of fact, Austin Reeves had 24. LeBron struggled last night, 4 for 10 shooting. He did have 10 assists, 12 points, and 9 rebounds, near triple. He did have 4 turnovers as well. But the Lakers, when I look at the Los Angeles Lakers right now, even though they lost yesterday, I think they're still in good shape because they can easily get the number 3 seed in the Western Conference. The Lakers have clinched at least a play-in position. The Lakers have clinched at least a play-in position. They can still clinch a playoff spot. And how they can do that? They don't have a tiebreaker against the Suns. But they do have tiebreakers with the Nuggets, Timberwolves, and the Rockets. But they don't have a tiebreaker with the Suns. Number 2 seed and 1 seed are all impossible. They don't have tiebreakers with the Spurs. They don't have tiebreakers with the Thunder, even though the Lakers will play the Thunder 2 more times, including around next month, something like that, around next month. So as April is approaching, because playoffs is about less than a month away. So that's that. You may be okay with it though. you may be okay with it. So I'm saying Luka has a better chance to win the MVP or candidate for MVP, if that's the case. But make your own difference. That's all that matters. So it should have helped. So when I'm looking for several teams, guess how many teams have clinched their playoff berth so far? We only had 3. Thunder, Spurs, and Pistons have all clinched their playoff spots. And we have 10 teams have clinched at least a play-in position, but some teams are going to clinch the playoff spots as far as top 6. With several weeks, with limited weeks, minimum weeks to play for both conferences, this will be a chaotic stretch. Who takes the spot? So that'll be that. All right, so come next, we'll update Jackson Smith Njigba, and also we're going to update Travis Kelce's contract situation. So we will have to step away in about 3 to 5 minutes. We'll be right back. All right, so we have breaking news in the NFL. The Seahawks extends Jackson Smith Njigba a 4-year, $168.6 million extension deal. So it's a good news for the Seahawks fans. And now Jackson Smith Njigba gets paid. So here's the question now. What do you think about Jackson Smith Njigba's extension? Is it good, bad, great? I think it's great. It's great to see. I'm happy for him because I believe Jackson Smith Njigba expects to have another big season in 2026. But there's nothing else you can really expect it for, is to get around these guys. And now Sam Darnold will enter his 2nd season as a Seahawks starting quarterback. Excuse me. I mean, I'm grateful that he stays with the Seattle Seahawks, if that's going to be the case. But we all know that these guys have been really, really special for him. And there's not a whole lot of things you can really worry about. Because of that, it really felt like these guys are just playing so many good things. But let's say Jackson Smith Njigba says, we know what we're capable of, and you say we can score touchdowns. We can count all these yards or all we want, but Mike McDonald notices that the entire team has to contribute. But I do like the fact that Seattle will be dangerous to become a huge contender. Despite the number of players have lost, they're still a pretty good contender. they can make this team even better. This Seahawks team has won 14 games last year. In large part, it's been the best. It's in their defense. And when Mike McDonald knows how to coach a brand of defensive football, that will be that. But on the offensive side, you talk about Jackson Smith Njigba being special, and his friend C.J. Stroud reacted. C.J. said, "I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you." I mean, C.J. Stroud and JSN were former teammates, by the way, from Ohio State University. I mean, they were really, really close friends, pretty much. They did play each other, by the way, last year. Stroud versus Njigba last season. If these two had played in the Super Bowl, it would have been a cool moment. It would have been a cool moment. Anyway. But Seattle deserves to win the championship last year because their defense is the best in the NFL. Sam Darnold has played well in the postseason. And Jackson Smith Njigba has had a great season overall. So the Seahawks did re-sign Rashid Shaheed. That was a good sign for the Seahawks to have a more depth in the wide receiver position. And that's going to be the key by going forward. If that's the case, then you can take your differences to the side. But it's really gonna help once it goes in this one here. So this is good. All right, coming up next, we'll talk Travis Kelce, and then we'll step away right after this. Welcome back to JDB's Morning Cap. We're going to spend another 5 minutes of this. We have breaking news from yesterday. The Chiefs have extended Travis Kelce a 3-year deal, which is a $57.7 million contract. So, what do you think about Travis Kelce? Well, for Travis Kelce, to me, I believe these guys are just going to play through it. And we all know that Travis Kelce is a future Hall of Famer. Travis Kelce is a future Hall of Famer. So we are already aside to anyone that we can do everything we could. But this is a golden opportunity to play this out a little bit. But it's all that. And there's no questions asked. There's a lot of things that can really happen right now. But this is a little different situation. If that's the case, but on that note, this is a good spot for them because it felt like the Chiefs they just need their own stuff. The Kansas City Chiefs, remember last year they went 6-11. You don't give them opportunity to take Jackson Smith Njigba, to take Travis Kelce, to take themselves into the Storm Knicks. And now you got Patrick Mahomes, and then you got these talented guys. Can put yourself in a position to the Super Bowl. But partially, we don't even see it that way. If that's the case, maybe things were only going to get worse because of this. But boy, you really have it all back. You could have done better, man. You could have done better. So you would have handled your end and you handled mine. Right? And that's that. For Travis Kelce, what's his accomplishment will look like in 2026 season. He wants to get back to his old form. He wants to have over 80 receptions. He wants to get over 1,000 yards receiving. He wants to score at least 9 touchdowns. If he does everything right this season, then he has a better chance to get to the Super Bowl. The Kansas City Chiefs, like I said, they were 6-11 a year ago. Can the Chiefs turn the corner this season? I hope so. I hope they turn the corner. If that's the case right now, then you don't have nothing else to prove with. So I think that Chiefs will be back this year, although it's not going to be easy. So let's see how Kansas City Chiefs can respond. They got to get to the playoffs as soon as possible, and that's that. All right, let's close out this show. Tomorrow we will talk all Major League Baseball. Opening day officially is tomorrow. We have one game in baseball tomorrow, and then we'll have other games on Thursday, and then other games on Friday. So it should be a fantastic opening week of baseball. We'll talk all of that. We'll talk favorites to win the World Series. We'll talk potential MVPs and all that stuff. And we'll preview the baseball season one more time before we move on. So this is going to be this one here. This is JDB's Morning Cap. We'll see you tomorrow and have a good rest of your day.